everyone, welcome to Podcast Polkesku, pojok obrolan daring kesehatan Poltekkes Kemenkes Kupang. With the five of us here, my name is Tian, I'm from nursing department
And I'm Vivi, I'm also from nursing department.
and both of us are not alone, we are with our three amazing and lovely friends from the Netherlands. And we get to know them one by one. So,
Can you briefly introduce yourself? Maybe from you?
Well, thank you very much, Tian. Thank you very much, Vivi. And it's an honor to be here. My name is Laura de Jonge. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm here from the Netherlands, from Maastricht University.
Okay, and next, please.
Thank you. We are very happy to be here. And I am also from the nursing department, but from Zuid University in Heerlen, and that's in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Malika Bouwmans. I am also from the Netherlands, from Maastricht University, where I work as a project manager and I'm also a medical doctor.
now we have new friend from Maastricht and also from Zuid University from the Netherlands. So there is a relationship between Kupang, Poltekkes Kupang, and also our friend from the Netherlands.
So today we will maybe have a talk, a little bit chit-chat about the RVO and also interpersonal collaboration and also interprofessional education. So maybe you can
Give us an explanation briefly about IPE, about RVO,
RVO
and also IPC.
IPC. Yes.
All right, I think I can best answer that question.
Okay.
We are working now together, as you said, as partners in a one-year project that is funded by the RVO, the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, and also supported by Kemenkes. And we work together not just with Poltekkes Kupang, but also with Poltekkes Denpasar and Poltekkes Surakarta. And in this one-year project, we're going to work on interprofessional education and collaboration. And we do that through a series of workshops, 3 workshops, on which we will discuss all different things around this topic. We start with the basics in an introduction, but we also talk about implementation, assessment, sustainability. So many different topics will be addressed. We have a bit of a short-term goal, and our first aim of these 3 workshops is to create IPE ambassadors, is what we call it, interprofessional education ambassadors. So ambassadors who strive to push forward the idea of working together with different healthcare professionals. And the more longer-term goal is that this will also have a positive effect on the healthcare system, on the outcomes in communities and in primary care, because if health professionals from different backgrounds, so nurses, midwives, physiotherapists, doctors, if they really work together, everyone's capacity is better used and they can have a better effect on the patient outcome. So that's our longer term goal.
Oh, okay. So maybe you can add more
No, I think
about the IP and IPC, like the relation between IP, IPC, and the RVO.
Oh.
How is it?
Yeah.
The relationship between?
Yeah, like is this you get funding from RVO or
Yes.
what is the relation between the IP, IPC?
And RVO.
So RVO is a Dutch enterprise agency, so they work mainly on international work with international enterprises, so that development. And here we have a relationship in this project also to work with Philips, one of the Dutch organizations, enterprises, who also do activities related to this project, and then mainly how technology can facilitate interprofessional education and collaboration.
So maybe to add to that, I think that we are all striving to improve health outcomes, so collaborative practice. But to do that, you need interprofessional education. So it all starts with you as a teachers here at the nursing department. So you are the most important persons now to address and to cooperate with.
Oh, so this collaboration will continue, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how about the interpersonal education important in modern healthcare?
I think
Why?
that, well, modern healthcare is changing. It's becoming more and more complicated and more fragmented. There's also a shortage of health workers. So therefore, it's very important that we'll be more efficient. And efficiency can be achieved by cooperating in practice. So that's why we need to train the professionals of the future, our students, to cooperate in practice.
Basically, it's the proper care at the proper time by the proper profession. And that can only be done by collaborating very well. And that's why you have to have interprofessional education first, because we want to educate the health professionals of the future. So it all starts with the education, and then it goes through in the collaboration at the working fields.
Okay. So, for our audience, for your information, so Lori, Marlike, and also Sabine here, they are teach us about how to be an ambassador of IPE and also IPC. So that's why we are asking much question about IPE, IPC, and also our RVO. So the next question is, what are the key principles of effective interprofessional education? Maybe you can add more explanation about the Zeit building blocks.
Yes, exactly. Because at our university, we find it very important to teach interprofessional collaboration. But of course, it's difficult. How do you teach something that will be used in practice afterwards? So therefore, we developed the Zeit building blocks. And those are 5 competences that need to be fulfilled before you can do proper interprofessional collaboration. I can explain them if you want.
Yeah,
Yes,
of course. We
Sure.
would be happy.
Well, the first one is knowing and understanding each other's competences. You can imagine that if you don't know what public health does as a nurse, you will
Yeah.
never ask them for help.
Yeah.
So it's very important
Of
to
course.
know each other.
Yeah.
And we also saw it in the workshops. You can agree, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of
Totally
course.
agree about that. Okay.
The second one is about working with interprofessional care plans. If you want to make the collaboration more efficient, you have to have your agreements and your tasks being set up in a care plan. Only then people know what to do, who does what, and how you can collaborate together. And it's also very good for the patients and the family that they know who is involved in the care team.
Okay, so first we need to get to know each other.
Yeah.
We need to assess
And
who is
then
our friend, and then
we
we
have
need
to make
a
the care
care
plan.
plan.
Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
okay.
And
And
you're
then
not ready then, because sometimes the care plan doesn't go as you like. Sometimes
Okay.
problems occur. And
So-
in IPE, it's very important to address those problems. So you tackle conflicts before they become too big. So it's very important to learn how to handle issues or how to handle conflicts.
Okay, how to manage the conflict, right? Okay. Yeah.
And I think this morning we had a conflict as
Yes.
well. And it was, of course, a fake one, but it
Yeah.
already gave a good insight how you deal with conflicts.
Yeah.
And that's something people have to learn. It's not something you do naturally. So it's really good to learn so that the next time you can be more efficient and you can learn from anything that occurs.
Okay.
And what is the next?
The next one is making appropriate interprofessional referrals. So that
Yeah.
also has to do with knowing what your task is and also knowing the boundaries or the limits of your task.
Okay.
If you are, for example, a physiotherapist and you get a very difficult situation with a patient in which the patient becomes really emotional, maybe even depressed, then you are not the one to solve that problem.
Yeah.
You are not the most professional one to do that. You might have to add a psychologist, for example.
Yeah.
So that also has to do with knowing your boundaries and knowing the competences of others. So without building block 1, you cannot do this building block.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last one is evaluating interprofessional collaboration. It's very important every once in a while that you look back at the process that you did as a team and that you reflect on how you collaborated as a team. Because just as a student, just as a teacher, just as a health professional, also the teams can always improve. And you can only do that by reflecting on your collaboration. So the evaluation is a very big part of interprofessional collaboration.
So we do the evaluation for the IPE and IPC, not the care plan, right?
No, indeed, you do it over the whole team process. So
Okay.
it's a team effort. And like you see, the building blocks, they are not just loose competences. They not only describe what people should do, but they also prescribe the process that an interprofessional team is following.
Okay, maybe I will ask to Marike again. Why RVO found that the IP and IPC is really interest to be funded?
I think that started also here in Indonesia in previous collaborations that we as Maastricht University had with different institutes in Indonesia, and we were also working with Kemenkes, and they actually identified that this is a need for Indonesia, that there are steps to make to improve healthcare, and because it's hard I don't think as an outsider, as a Dutch organization, we really can right away determine this is what is needed. So together with Kemenkes, this priority area was made, and fortunately for us, RVO agreed that this was a good thing to fund.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we really need IP and IPC to make the patient cost more efficient, and also for our healthcare system in Indonesia also.
Okay.
I would like also to ask, because you said about the Zeit building blocks, is the Zeit building blocks already applied in your school?
Yes, it is. And what we see is that the Zeit building blocks, they provide a chance for the students to practice. And what is good about practice is that practice makes perfect. During practice, you can make mistakes. You can do it wrongly. You can also sometimes do not so smart things to learn from them. And that's why the Zeit building blocks are applied in our nursing studies every year. And every year, the educational activity becomes larger, becomes also more independent from teachers. So at the end, the students really master the power of interprofessional collaboration.
Wow,
Okay.
good things then.
Yeah, so it's like you said also that the networking will continue. So it's like the way, or the kind of FA preparation to make the real world collaboration. Yeah. Oh,
May I add to this?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
Of
Because-
course, sure.
Because we are very near Zuid University in the Netherlands. Netherlands are only a small country. But at Maastricht University, we also use the Zuid building blocks because we ask students from medical university to collaborate with students from Zuid University. So in our rotations, in our final years of the master phase in medicine, we ask students to make a collaborative care plan and to cooperate together.
And they even have a meeting together. So our students, they go to Maastricht University and they have a meeting together, the MDO, right?
Yes?
So the FPE and IPC in Netherlands is already running well for now.
I think in the whole world, things are improving but running well. I think that's maybe a little bit too positive. But I think everybody is very aware that this should be done. Also because otherwise primary care, especially primary care, will be very difficult. Because the focus of the RVO project is also basically on primary care.
Okay, so what we should do with our students, how we prepare them so they can really know how they have to do when they go to the primary care for the IPA and IPC. The first step they have to know, the first step they have to do.
Maybe you can share what you applied in your school before they go to the practice, the IPE practice.
I think the strange thing is that students, before they entered Poltekkes, they all were cooperating, were joining each other, and then all of a sudden they became these separate professions. So now I think for the benefit of patient care, it's good that they cooperate. So if you invite them to cooperate, they are very willing to do so. So it's not an unnatural thing to do. But it seems that since we are educating people to a certain profession, that we lose the connection between these different professions.
Yeah.
So if we invite them from the first year to be interested in each other and to show interest, and also to ask, what are you doing? What is a speech therapist, or what does a nurse exactly do? That will help them to get connected again and don't lose this connection.
So we really need to train them to have the connection between each other since they are in school, right?
Yes.
We have to be their role model.
Yes.
Right?
First.
That's why you train us about how to be a good ambassador.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's the same for you. You are both teachers at the nursing department. But if you are not completely aware, for instance, what the dentist does or what the occupational therapist does, it's very difficult for you to teach your students how to do so. So you are absolutely right. You as a teacher are also a role model.
And what are the common barriers, maybe in your school, both of you, when you are practice the IPC and IP?
Well, maybe in general, there are the literature identified certain barriers that prevent interprofessional collaboration or that make it a little bit more difficult. For instance, sometimes the roles and responsibilities are not clear or maybe even unfair, that the job is not distributed correctly. Sometimes it can also change. Because, for instance, we also spoke about certain places when a new profession comes along, then the team has to change and the roles of others also can change. So that can be a part. Sometimes there are also hierarchical issues.
Yeah, of course, the hierarchy, okay.
And that can be formal or informal. So that can be by title, but sometimes there is also hierarchical issues when there is a junior or a senior even.
Okay.
Also the conflict avoidance we sometimes see. So if people don't address the conflicts, everything stays the same. And then there is no chance for change. And you sometimes need conflicts to learn from and to do it better afterwards. What is also a difficulty, that is the group dynamics. Sometimes it can be very difficult if a group is already set and you get there as a new health professional or maybe even as a student. You have to do your internship there and you are new. And then the whole group is already very fixed and they have their own ways. And sometimes it can be difficult to find your way within that team.
Yes, of course. I think we all experience that when we are in school, right?
Yes, I can imagine. But there is also the fact that sometimes circumstantial factors can be facilitating or hindering. For example, it can be very nice if your Poltekkes has so many IPE ambassadors, it will be a facilitating part. But sometimes it can also be more difficult to have interprofessional collaboration if, for example, your health facility is in a very remote area.
Yeah.
Laurie can also say something about the contextualization that is needed.
I was just thinking, do you recognize these? Because you say these are the hindering factors from literature. Do you recognize those? Are they applicable for your situation here in Indonesia or even better in Kupang area?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes this can be difficult. That is what Sabine is aiming at. I mean, we use a lot of international literature, but always you need to see what is happening here in the region.
In our local.
Yeah. And we are now with the three colleagues, with the three Poltekkes from Denpasar, from
Surakarta, and also
Kupang, but also these institutes have a different quality. Sometimes they are urban, sometimes they are really remote. I understood that here there are several Puskesmas with quite a distance to a hospital facility, for instance. So all these things matter. So you really need to contextualize that, to take into account the context of where you are doing your interprofessional education, but especially collaborative practice.
Yeah, sorry, it's really hard, but we can do it.
Yes.
If you want to.
Of course you can.
Okay.
So we need commitment first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also communication.
And collaboration.
Those are
and the good leader. Yeah.
Do
And
you
the good
remember the
leaders.
last C?
Yeah.
We spoke about it today, being creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. The creative.
Yeah. The good leader also.
Yes.
The
Yes.
strong leader.
The strong leader.
strong
The
leader.
case holder.
Yes, but
Yeah.
interprofessional collaboration, sometimes it also requires you to be really creative. For example, if you are at the remote areas and maybe, for instance, a certain discipline is not there, then the other disciplines need to do more work. They have more tasks. For example, if you have a very remote area and there is a doctor, a midwife, a nurse, but no pharmacist, then it might be the case that the doctor takes over a lot of tasks from the pharmacist. It might also be that a nurse does a bit more in there. So it also enhances the creativity, also enhances the fact that you are finding new solutions.
Of course.
Maybe we can add to that a bit, because one other way to tackle one of these challenges that you were mentioning is technology. We spoke shortly about it before, because one of these challenges that we discussed in the training already is that you need to be in the same place to work effectively together. That's the ideal situation. But also in these more distant places, this is sometimes more challenging, and here technology can be a facilitator. I think at various levels this can happen. For example, with our partner Philips, we talked about having an ultrasound, a maternal ultrasound, for example. And if you have problems or challenges as a midwife and you're very remote, and you're on your own addressing that, or maybe the medical doctor there is also not sure, and then if you could send these images to the local hospital and you get feedback from the gynecologist, that might help you further. So then all of a sudden you're collaborating with the gynecologist, maybe the medical doctor from your practice, the midwife. So technology can facilitate it that way, but also by a digital patient file or something like that, where you can share this information in a safe way. So I think being creative is for sure part of the solution, and technology can not change it, but facilitate the process.
Yes. We do agree with you, but in some cases in the remote areas, we still lacking of internet and technology. So
that's one of those barriers and limitations, and that also depends on which region and area. So not applicable to every situation.
But technology really useful, because we already gathered here. Before we only met at the camera.
Then the technology and also the digital health is also can enhance the interprofessional collaboration, right? So
but at the core, there are always people.
Yes.
And so the C's, they're most applicable to people. And I saw you nodding about hierarchical issues, for instance. You should address them. You should step over the professional egos of the professions, so that you can collaborate in the benefits for the patient care.
And that's also the most important part about interprofessional collaboration. In every theoretical model that exists, it's always patient-centered care. And we would like to add to that during these workshop rounds also. It's not only about patient-centered care, but it's also about student-centered education and teacher-centered education. So it indeed requires the 3 C's: communication, creativity, and collaboration.
And the next question is, can you share example of how IPC has improved patient care in your experience?
Well, I think from family medicine practice, we have also a lot of chronic disease in the Netherlands. For instance, diabetes or chronic pulmonary diseases. And I think because the doctors themselves on their own, they cannot handle all these checkups or all the kind of exercises or for educational activities that you should do with your patients. So actually we did quite severe, I think we divided the tasks that the doctor normally did before. I think 20 years ago, the doctor did this himself, but now we divided the tasks. For instance, by specifically trained nurses, or between the physiotherapist who's also involved, or the pharmacist. In that way, we greatly improved care, for instance, for people with chronic disease.
An example that I can think of, what we have seen a lot is interprofessional collaboration, for instance, in palliative care. In palliative care, a lot of time people are trying to get more comfort, but they often have pain complaints. And what we see is that the pain cannot always be solved with just some medicine. It requires more. sometimes the people also feel pain because they are very sad because they know that they are not doing well and they know that they maybe be dying and that they have to leave their family behind. Sometimes it's also that they feel puzzled. Why is this happening to me? What does this say about my spirituality? And then you can see in only this short, it's one complaint, it's pain. But you can see that you need a psychologist, a social worker, a medicine doctor, a nurse, and sometimes also another physiotherapist, for example.
And also
so that's
the family.
Already, and the family, of course.
Of course,
So
the
that's
family.
already 5 medical disciplines for just one complaint. So interprofessional collaboration is needed.
This is a
Okay.
very interesting topic, Sabi. Maybe we should give a lecture.
Go.
On Tuesday. at the
Yeah,
nursing
yeah,
school.
yeah.
We should.
Let's
Yeah.
do so.
Oh,
That's a deal.
Okay, so if we talk about the contextualization, why is contextualization important in interprofessional collaboration?
I think in general contextualization is key because you cannot use the same models all over the world. And issues that arise are really depending on local circumstances. So it's not only about the facility or the organization or the degree of technology that can be used. It's specifically about culture. Collaboration requires an open culture. So you need to be prepared to receive or provide feedback. And feedback must be honest.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be quite difficult. And we all know from personal experiences that it's not the nicest thing to do. Even if they say you can improve this and that, you can still feel a little bit like, and especially if you are asking for, if you want to give feedback to a senior, this can be very difficult.
Yes.
In the Netherlands, they sometimes say feedback is a gift. Do you also hear that sometimes, Malika?
For sure.
Feedback
Yes.
is a gift.
Why is that?
Because that's, well, I think also in the training we discussed that that's really a good way to learn, because through feedback you better see your blind spots, what you didn't know you could improve, or which knowledge you didn't have. And if someone gives you that feedback, you actually know how you can become better at what you do, or better in being a colleague or in a communicator. So in that way I do see it as a gift. I do kind of agree with it.
So what we heard today, that you were really thinking as IB ambassadors that this should be very useful. So in the next trainings, we will do them on your demands, tailor-made. So if you think, oh, maybe we should practice or do role modeling with feedback or professional feedback, we can do that. Or with conflict management. It is difficult. And
Yeah, it
nobody's
is.
going
It
to say
is.
it's easy. If he is, that
No,
is
it's
not
not.
right.
It's not difficult. But
So we also need your feedback.
Okay.
Yes.
We can implement international models, but you are the experts. You are the expert from the region. So we share knowledge. We are not just sending, but we're not just broadcasting our knowledge. We should share knowledge.
we learn to be a good ambassador.
Yes.
And we will provide the feedback also.
Yes.
Assure you.
I thought that was a good question.
Okay.
I think we already discussed like the interprofessional education evolving for the future. Or do you want to add more about it?
Maybe I can add a bit more, because what we see in education is more and more is being done online, of course. But in interprofessional collaboration, a big part is also meeting each other. I think you saw that in the workshop as well.
Yes.
A lot of magic will happen if you bring people together.
Oh,
And that's also with interprofessional collaboration. You only get immediate responses and you get the non-verbal communication when you get together. And that's a very big part of interprofessional collaboration. So even though technology can make certain things possible, I think the real magic happens when you bring people together and let them inspire each other. And that's what you do every day.
Yeah, a lot of surprises when we are gathered together. I agree with you.
So, how do you think about maybe you can share with us, especially with our listener, and especially for our students, what the key that can take away regarding the interprofessional collaboration and interprofessional education? Or maybe you can give some personal advice, the three of you.
Message or
I
opinion.
think I would like to tell this very shortly. Be an expert in your profession, but don't forget the others. So step over your professional ego and try to collaborate, right? Because that's in the benefit for patient care. And we all know this, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to act so.
And how about you?
Yeah, I can add to that. I think all professions have a certain piece of the puzzle in their hands in combining the perfect interprofessional care plan. And you have to take some effort as a health professional to bring the pieces together. But it is necessary to collaborate because every piece of the puzzle is equally important. So that's why interprofessional collaboration is the most important, and it starts with interprofessional education. So I think all teachers should be IPE role models.
Yeah, that's why we need each other. Okay.
And then,
Well, I think they already said great things, but what I really would like to
Thank you for feedback.
Oh yes.
to the students, I would say use that time while you're studying to practice with IPE and the different steps, because it will benefit you in the future. And you're not doing it just as an exercise, because we know and we've heard today that interprofessional collaboration will benefit the patient. So you do it for a reason. And when you're a student, you can stumble and fall and try again, because that's still the time to learn.
okay. So don't forget to be the expert on your own profession, but do not forget also to collaborate with others, because we have one vision, that is our patient. So patient-centered care. So don't forget about it. And how is it?
But at
Vivi?
the first, we have to know each other. Yeah. Know our limits.
So thank you, Marike. Thank you, Sabine, and also Laurie. Thank you so much for sharing the knowledge and also information for all of us here.
And how's your
Plan after
plan
this?
after this? After
Are you going
after
to-
the workshop in Kupang?
Are you going to another Poltekkes that you mentioned before in the beginning?
Yes, we are. And as Malika said, this is series of 3 workshops. So in Denpasar, today and this week we gave an introduction in IPE.
Okay.
In Denpasar, we will talk about terms and conditions to implement IPE. And then in Surakarta, it will be about the implementation, especially about future collaboration.
Okay. And how about the evaluation?
Is it within?
The report and the second workshop, the implementation, we also look into assessment.
Okay. Thank you. So
We are so
Looking
happy to
forward.
have you here.
Yeah.
Things ahead still.
We were really happy to be here, so
Yeah.
thank you for having us.
Maybe is this the place also that we can thank you, because we are really grateful for you, but also for the hospitality, for instance, for Podkes, for Ibu Ria, for Ibu Teli.
and
We
also
really enjoyed your hospitality. Thank you very much.
and also for our director. Thank
And
you,
also
Pak
for Pak
Irfan.
Irfan.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Okay.
So that's all for our podcast, Polkesku today. We will meet again on the next podcast. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.